Howdy and welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. I'm Jerry Snyder. As an elite level athlete, owner of All In Health and Wellness, and author of the book Confidence Through Health, my goal is to help you achieve your goals and dreams using health as the conduit to get there. I want to say thank you to Social Media Cowboys for sponsoring this week's episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. If you need help with a website, if you need social media needs for your business, if you need help with AdWords, SEO, all those things that you know you should be doing but you are too busy to do or you're too confused about, they are the experts that you need in your corner. If you're interested in launching a podcast such as mine, they help me edit my podcast and do a fantastic job making sure that all of the technical side of it is handled and we launch a nice, neat, edited podcast episode each week. So I want to thank Social Media Cowboys for their continued sponsorship of the Confidence Through Health podcast. You can find them at socialmediacowboys.com, or you can find them as well with other sponsors at confidencethroughhealth.com. Welcome back to the Confidence Through Health podcast. This is Jerry Snyder, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual health and how that affects your physical health, and what we can learn from things that are cross-cultural. Meaning, while I'm here in Texas, things that are done here that can also be done in other parts of the world, whether it's Argentina or Siberia or France, it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. And I know that we all have a love for the area that we live in and a love for the area we grew up in. But then there's things that are of spiritual nature that cross all bounds and all borders and go through all countries. And there's things that are, there's a lot of different religions out there. And so I'm not necessarily talking about religions so much as the spiritual aspect of your life. A lot of the religions that are out there share similarities in what they believe as far as how the spiritual connection that you make affects your health. That if you spend more time in your spiritual health, in your spiritual world, if you spend more time in whether you call it prayer or quiet time or solitude or meditation, if you spend that time on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, it's going to have profound effects for your health. There's several reasons why. And that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, is that when you hear someone say spiritual health, a lot of times people who maybe aren't spiritually connected or are not open to hearing other people's opinions or are not open to other religions will become very defensive and get very closed-minded. And I want you to have an open mind towards spiritual health, not meaning someone's going to approach you with their religion, but spiritual health from the standpoint of we are all a spiritual being. There's the proof in that is that we all have a soul, and that soul is in us. When we die, that soul leaves us. And depending on the religion you believe, depending on what you believe happens at death, when the soul departs the life, there's various things that could happen based on what any individual believes. But the fact of the matter is that we all have a soul that connects us to the spiritual world. And if we ignore that, we are going to be unhealthy. as a whole. There's going to be a void. There's going to be an unhealthy part of our life. Now, myself as a Christian, I believe that my soul is going to go to heaven because Jesus died for me. It's what we just celebrated this past week at Easter for the Christians around the world. That's my belief. It doesn't change the fact that we all have a soul. And it doesn't change the fact that we need to have a spiritual connection and a spiritual health. So how do you go about doing that? Well, you need to understand and come to a realization of where you came from. You need to make that connection. And you need to spend time in that spirit side of your life. So there are Christians that believe that yoga is taboo. There are other religions that believe that as well. There are people that will tell you that meditation is bad for you because you're connecting with, the wrong sides of the spirit world. And I think that the people that say that see the negative side of it, because yes, as a spirit world, you can connect with both evil sides and good sides of the spirit world. But if you approach it from the right, healthy perspective, that you are going to have a healthy spiritual life, that you are going to connect to make yourself better, to make the world better, to lift up the people in your environment, which I believe is part of having a healthy life. The ultimate result is going to be that you're going to be healthier and you're going to be more confident in your daily life. So how that looks for a lot of people, that you can start in a couple of different simple, easy ways. So you get to pick which one, fits your lifestyle, fits where you want to start, fits the ease for you. The first one being simply stopping what you're doing for a couple of minutes a day and focusing on your breathing and nothing else. Turn your phone off, turn all the digital devices off, go outside if you can. If it's not too noisy, if you can get into nature, even better. But sit in a quiet space, uninterrupted, undisturbed, and simply breathe in and out through your nose, trying to get into a rhythm. There's a lot of different methods, deep breathing methods, breath work, that you can look up online and begin to practice. So you don't have to do any official meditation. You don't have to do a prayer. You can just sit there with your thoughts and breathe. But you're connecting to your spirit. You're connecting to your soul when you do that, because you're ignoring everything else that's going on and you're cutting out all the disturbances of the current life that's going on around you. So after breath work, if you want to go maybe to the next step or a slightly different direction, I recommend doing breath work through all of these. So one could be meditation. And so if you're going to meditate, to do breathing work while you're meditating. One could be prayer time, whether if you're Catholics, a lot of Catholics will say the rosary, or picking a couple of prayers, picking a section of the Bible or a prayer book or a devotional and repeating that prayer a few times. Again, while breathing, while undisturbed, with all the electronics turned off. Like, find your quiet space and don't be afraid to be in your quiet space. Don't be afraid to be disconnected from everything else going on in the world. You're going to be okay for a few minutes a day being disconnected from people. Another is to do some yoga poses or go through a full yoga class, but all the while doing your breath work, being disconnected from the current world, from your electronic devices, from the noise that drives your stress level, and connect to the higher being, connect to who you are, connect to your inner person, your soul. When you do that, you're going to hear things. You're going to hear, in my opinion, it's God speaking through the Holy Spirit. If you're not a Christian, you could hear your conscience. You could hear, you're going to hear voices. You're going to hear, and not so much in like a physical voice that you hear, but you're going to hear things and you're going to sense things that are going to be telling you, maybe you should do this something. Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should change your life in this way. Have you ever thought of this direction? Maybe you should make these changes because you're going down the wrong way. But when we're so busy and so funneled into our technology superhighway that we are so focused on, and we're picking up all the different signals as we go along, but we're still focused and going so fast in today's world. When we don't sit and connect and go, hey, soul, are we going the right direction? Are we doing what's best for us? We may have a great life, but it may not be what's best for us. It could be better. And if you have a bad life or a not so successful life or a poor life or a life that you wish you could change, it's probably easy to see that it could be better. But a lot of times the scary thing is that a lot of us think that life is great. And we don't realize that it could be a lot better if we slow down, connect with our spirit, take care of our spiritual health. So a lot of times that means spending time outside in nature, connecting with the earth. I've done a video on that before. Connecting with the ground, connecting with nature, being quiet, and just understanding that the reality of you being this one little being on this huge ball we call Earth, with how many billions of other people floating around the sun at this gigantic speed that we can't comprehend, that we are so small, but yet we can have such a huge impact if we stop and think and stop and connect and stop and make decisions based on what's going to be healthy for us and what's going to be best for us. And that's how you get to the end of your life and not sit on your deathbed and have regrets about, I wish I would have done this, and I wish I would have done that, and I wish I would have slowed down and spent time here or there. So take the advice from yourself, from your future self, and slow down and connect with your spirit. Connect with making it a healthy spirit life, a healthy spiritual life for you to live in connection with a healthy physical life, a healthy work life, a healthy psychological life. They're all part of a healthy lifestyle. And there's a lot of people that believe, or I shouldn't say believe, that have gotten into the habit that spiritual health is an hour a week when you go to church. And that's not spiritual health. Spiritual health is spending time every day with your spirit world. Spending time connecting with your spirit world. And the only way to do that is to get rid of the noise and cut the noise out. Because while the spirit world is always there and it's always around us, and you could connect to it at any moment, it's extremely difficult to do that when the noise is around. It's extremely difficult. You need to cut the noise out to be able to do that. And that's hard to do in today's world because you've got commitments here and there. You've got responsibilities. If you've got kids, you've got their commitments that you have to get them to. You've got work. You've got family. You've got bills to pay. I understand all that. I live that life. I've got clients that call me, contact me, employees that need things at different times of the day, different times of the week. That's called living in the life we have today. But you can take control of part of that and cut the time out to be able to do this. A lot of my belief is that it's easier, better for you from a healthy standpoint to do it in the morning when you wake up, get yourself focused on connecting to that higher power, the one that I call God, connecting and understanding that He has a purpose for me today. And how can I live that out? And if I do that in the morning, for me, it becomes easier to go through the day. My stress level's better. I connect better with people. And I get accomplished what He wants me to get accomplished. And I feel better at the end of the day. And then, so one more thing you can do at the end of the day, and it might not sound like just in practice, a very spiritual practice, but it is in that when you write down just a few things at the end of the day, right before you go to bed, you write down a few things that you're grateful for from that day. It can be 3 things. It can be 5 things. It doesn't have to be a lot. They don't have to be huge things that happen. They can be small things. They can be things that most people might think were insignificant, but to you, it was something that was impactful. Just write down a few things that you were grateful for. And if you do that every day and you allow yourself to come up with a new list every day versus repeating the same things over and over, it's great to say, I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my spouse. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my house. And do that every day. But if you do that every day, you're not allowing yourself to connect throughout the day with what's going on and see the bigger picture and understand where your impact is and understand where other people's impact on you is. And when you start to see that, then it can be, I'm grateful for the person that paid for my coffee. Or I'm grateful for the person that allowed me to cut in line while I was driving and allowed me to make my appointment on time because they were not selfish about letting me in the flow of traffic. It could be, I'm grateful for the fact that I got to take a day off from work. It's not necessarily huge things, but they're basic things that are hugely impactful in your spiritual health when you write these things down day in and day out. When you get to 6 days in, 7 days in, 10 days in of doing this every day, you're going to see your life change. And in my opinion, that's a spiritual change in your life. So these practices are simple. These practices are easy. But most oftentimes, unfortunately, these practices are ignored because we think they are either taboo or we think they're, not worth anything, or they're hocus pocus, or, how could something so simple work? So there's no way that that's going to be feasible. So I'm not even going to try. Oftentimes, the simple things are the things that work best. They don't have to be complicated. Life doesn't have to be as complicated as figuring out how to work, the VCR when you're trying to program the clock on the VCR. Like it doesn't have to be that difficult. And I know that VCR reference, maybe that's really, that dates me a little bit, but it doesn't have to be so complicated that you can't figure it out. Take a little time to connect your spiritual life, your spiritual health, and you will find that your physical health, your mental health, psychological health, your relationship health, all of these things are going to get better. All of these things are going to get better. Because when you understand your spiritual health and you understand your calling, because that will start to come to you, and you understand the impact that you can possibly make on your community, your family, your neighborhood, maybe even bigger than that, maybe your country, maybe the world. When you understand that even though you're a small little person on this big, huge rock full of billions of people, that you could possibly make that big of an impact, you're going to understand how to take care of your health so that you can make that impact. It starts to happen. One of the things that I tell my clients when I start teaching them about nutrition is that once you start eating healthier and your body starts understanding that you're going to continue that practice of eating healthier and properly providing nutrition for your cells, once your body understands that that's going to happen, your body's going to start moving. It's going to start craving exercise. It's going to start craving movement. And you might think that sounds crazy, but your body knows what it wants and what it needs. And right now, if you're unhealthy and you're following a Western diet, you're manually and you have been manually overriding what the body wants. But you're going to get to a point when you follow your spiritual health and you improve your spiritual health. You're going to get to a point, just like when you follow proper nutrition, you get to the point where you want to start exercising. You're going to get to a point where you want to start taking care of your health physically, because you're going to see the impact that you can make. You're going to see the possibilities, and you're not going to want to let that slip by. You're going to want to make that impact. It's similar to people who have grandkids for the first time, and they've been maybe doing some things that weren't the healthiest with their life. And then they realize, hey, I sort of want to live a little longer so I can have fun with my grandkids. And they start taking care of their life so that they can do fun things with their grandkids. It's the same type of thing that happens with your spiritual life. If you start improving your spiritual life, the rest of your body goes, hey, I sort of want to take care of myself so I can share this with other people, so I can make the biggest impact possible. So do a few things to connect with your soul. Do a few things to connect with your spirit, with the spirit world. Start incorporating that into your daily life. And like I said, it can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It does not have to be long. It just has to be regular. Consistency is how you win. You don't have to be the best to win. And we can all win. There doesn't have to be one winner. But it's through consistency that you win. So just like with all the other areas of life, it's with consistency that you win. So take care of your spiritual life. Connect, whether that's through prayer, meditation, breath work, yoga, simple quiet time, simple journaling, quiet time. Take a journal and just sit and write down your thoughts. Write down things that you're grateful for every day. Do those few simple things and you will see a shift in your spiritual life, in your spiritual health, which will boost your physical health as well. And it'll boost your mental health, your psychological health as well. So start practicing those things. I'd love for you to send me an email, jerry@allinhealthandwellness.com, or you can get post a comment or anything on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Let us know how these things are impacting your life. I'd love to know how this is helpful for you. And when you try a few of these things and you see that it's working, I'd love to know and be able to share that with others, that that this stuff is working for you and how it can impact others as well. So thanks for joining us this week. We'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for checking out the All in Health and Wellness Confidence Through Health podcast. Our goal is to use health as a conduit to help you reach your goals in life.
A little lighter than me. I'm about to black out and grip is getting tighter on me. I think I like it deep inside. I feel the fire in me. She like the milky, see me cream into the coffee in me. She got soul in the sway.